Hello, and welcome to this month's Safety Minute. Happy New Year, it's 2023, and I hope you had a wonderful holiday season with your family. This is also the time of year when companies like to do what they call a safe start. This is when they want you to get your mind back in the game, refocus, put your mind on task, so that you can have a safe and successful year. And they do this because they know at the beginning of the year, you have all this time in front of you, which also means there are lots of tasks that need to be done this year. And they want you to do those tasks with quality, with efficiency, with cost value, and with safety in mind. I had an epiphany in 2022 that I think is very fitting for this month's Safety Minute. Because as we enter 2023, we have this whole year in front of us and all this time. And that epiphany I had was that time is the greatest extrinsic factor that drives our safety behaviors. Just think about this for a moment. I am constantly in airports, and I can tell you when I'm in an airport, you can tell who arrived to the airport late, who didn't anticipate long lines in security, or who had a tight connection. Because those are the people that are racing through the airport as fast as they can. I also see this when I'm sitting on an airplane and we get delayed by 10 or 15 minutes on the ground because we have to de-ice. The ground crew takes a little bit longer loading the bags. There's a minor maintenance issue that has to be dealt with. Or we lost our spot in queue and now we're sitting on the tarmac waiting for our turn to hit the runway and take off. And you can tell when you lose 10 to 15 minutes in an airport who has that tight connection. Because those are the people that are stressing out, constantly looking at the time, trying to figure out how they're going to make their next connection. You also see this whenever you jump into the vehicle. I can promise you, whenever you jump into the vehicle, you preset a time in your head on when you're going to arrive. And when things go wrong, we adjust how we drive to meet that preset amount of time. You see this when you hear the words rush job. Rush job plays this unique thing on people, and it all of a sudden changes how we do our job because we now see this rush job as being the most important job we have to do. Time becomes everything. And because of that, we get to bend rules, break policies, take shortcuts. You see this whenever we're late. And the moment we're late, we feel like we can rewrite the rules of the road so we can save 30 seconds to 2 minutes. You see this whenever you're behind the 8 ball and you have too much work. That's when we multitask. It's when we start to break rules, bend policies, take shortcuts. It's when we speed up so that we can get these jobs all completed and out the door. Time is the greatest extrinsic factor that drives our safety behaviors. The interesting thing though is, the moment you realize how much time plays on our safety behaviors, you can now control how time affects our safety behaviors. And the way I do this is I have preset ways I will act and react whenever time enters my safety behavior. For when I travel and I book a flight, I always arrive at the airport 20 minutes to 30 minutes before I'm told I should be there. That way when I get there and security is really long, I got 20 more minutes to get through security. And whenever I book a flight, I never book a tight connection. I always allow myself a 2-hour window. And the reason I do is because I can lose 15 to 30 minutes on the ground, and I'll still have an hour and a half to make my connection. And I'd much rather have a nice lunch in the airport while I wait for my connection than to miss my connection altogether. I also book a flight looking for a plan B. I always make sure that there is another flight leaving that day after, just in case all things go wrong, that I have options to still get to my destination. When I jump into the vehicle, I do set that amount of time in my head. But when things go wrong, I don't adjust how I drive to meet that time. I adjust the time, and that way I don't have to take on any extra risk. When I hear the words rush job, I don't hear anymore that this is the most important job I have to do. I hear it's the next job I have to do. And I can prove to you that a rush job is not the most important job you have to do. I have had hundreds, if not thousands, of rush jobs in my life. And I can't remember a single one of them. And if they were so important at the time, why is it that I can't remember them now? Maybe because that rush job wasn't important at all. It wasn't the most important job I had to do. It was just the next job I had to do. And because of that, I did it like all my other jobs, with quality, with efficiency, with cost value, and with safety in mind. When I hear that I'm late, I don't rewrite the rules of the road, because I realize that if I'm 8 minutes late, 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late, or 20 minutes late, I am still late. You can't be any more late than late. So what's the point on taking on all this extra risk, trying to save 30 seconds to 2 minutes, if you're still going to be late? Instead, the way I control being late is I always try and leave 5 minutes before that preset time in my head says I should have left. Because that 5 minutes, it makes a mountain of difference on when things go wrong. I also found that 5 minutes removes all the stress of driving and makes it actually enjoyable. And when I'm behind the 8 ball and I have too much work, I delegate. I ask for help. Maybe I'll even work on the weekends. Or perhaps I prioritize things and get the stuff that is high priority done first. But I don't do it to where I speed up and I try and accomplish more than I humanly can. Because it's just not worth it. I'm not going to die over a job. I almost did once. And I can promise you, it wasn't worth it. When you're able to see how much time drives our behavior, that is when we can control it. And we're at the beginning of a brand new year here. I want you to get your head into the game. Focus on your jobs. Get your mind on task. Do your jobs with quality, efficiency, cost value, and with safety. Don't let time have it that you take on more risk than you need to. I hope you enjoyed this one Safety Minute. If you want more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button. If you want to bring me out to your workplace, go to spencerspeaks.ca. Until the next Safety Minute, stay safe and have a happy new year.